impact the season.
Welcome to the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Brian Sexton have all the news and information to get you ready for today's game. The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by Baptist Health, Farah and Farah, and by TIAA Bank. The Publix Tailgate Show starts right now.
Well, there's not much that needs to be said. Win and they're in the postseason. The Jaguars were 2-6, and there was no reason for us to expect the regular season finale would mean so much since the return from London and that disheartening loss to the Broncos. The Jaguars are 6-2 and have thrilled us with last-minute come-from-behind wins and overtime thrillers. It's been a hell of a ride. Up next, the possibility of a winning season and the playoffs. Up next, a future much brighter than the past. And up next, the Tennessee Titans. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the first hour of the Publix Tailgate Show, brought to you by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Brian Sexton along with Mike Dempsey. And Mike, 23 years ago this month, I had a bag packed in the parking lot right up there, right? And was headed for Atlanta after the AFC Championship game. There was no bye week that year between the championship games and the Super Bowl. These guys sent us home. I drove east down Atlantic Boulevard instead. I don't think I've ever really gotten over that. The memory has never faded. And I know for this franchise, the memory of the Titans has never diminished.
Yeah, for the fans that have been around for a long period of time and lived through those great years in the 90s that were ultimately thwarted by Tennessee, Brian, this is the rivalry.
You bet.
And it's been more one-sided. It's been the Jaguars looking to get their revenge. Well, I don't know if it completely makes up for costing you a trip to the Super Bowl, but this is a big step in the right direction because it's not just the potential to win a game tonight, to win an AFC South championship, to go to the playoffs in 2022, 2023. It signals the changing of the guard. If the Jaguars are able to complete the sweep of the Tennessee Titans, win this division, come back, you look now, Trevor Lawrence is playing like the quarterback everyone thought he would ultimately play like when he was drafted. Nobody in the division has an answer for that, and there are great times in the future for the Jags. But future focus starts in 3 hours and 15 minutes
You bet. Jaguars and Titans coming up at 8:15. Tonight's game is presented by Johnson & Johnson Vision, providing healthy sight for life. And let's jump right into the big stories of the week. The head coach understands what tonight is all about, and he'll take a moment to reflect back over the season as he looks at a full stadium and understands the impact of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I know what it was like in my previous life, in up north there, and I know what it was like, and it's been a while since we've had a game like this here in Jacksonville, and it's going to be great for the fans, really. I think it's great for them to be here, to experience this with the team. And it's more about them as well. It's just like it is the team, but to be able to stand there right before kickoff and just kind of look around the stadium and just see how full it is and the excitement and knowing that you're playing on a national stage will be pretty special for everybody.
Brian, I left the house about 45 minutes earlier than I typically do on game day. Ran into a lot more traffic than I typically would much later, closer to kickoff, which is just phenomenal. Look, the NFL and fans around the league look at Jacksonville and say, oh, attendance this, attendance that. Well, we've always said, give us a winner, and we'll pack the place. And the Jaguar fans feel like now they've got a team heading in the right direction. You're going to see that tonight. This place is going to explode.
Told you the story earlier. I went to Publix today, got through produce, and had to leave because I realized it would take me 3 hours to shop. So many people wanted to stop and talk about this game. It took longer to walk from the parking lot. There is an energy in the city, Mike, that I don't even know if we saw in 2017. It is off the charts. And the quarterback, well, he won't say that he knew it was going to end this way, but let's just say he wasn't surprised, nor any of his teammates, that this team is 8-8 with a chance to take the division title tonight.
I mean, we've known that this game was coming for a while, and that this is where we wanted to be. Week 18. I mean, Coach Peterson said it a few weeks ago. He's like, I got a crystal ball. This thing's gonna come down to Week 18, and we're gonna have a shot. And we jumped on board. We believed it. We kept putting in the work, and look, we're here now. So we've known this was coming, but we had to take care of business every week to get here, and that's the same thing this week. We have to stay in the moment. We have to do what we've been doing, prepare the same way, put together a great game plan. You got to know it, obviously, and then go out and play the game. And that's what we've been able to do, and we've been able to execute. And the same things that won the other ones are going to win this one. We just got to play well and out-execute them. So.
David can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 38 of you guys, 53-man roster, hasn't been in a playoff game.
So the quarterback, not surprised.
Look, you want to talk about the excitement is even different than it was in 2017. This is why. It's two guys. It's the Super Bowl winning head coach. It is the young franchise quarterback. In 2017, it was like a bolt out of the blue. This is fun. This is amazing. Is it sustainable? Nobody had any idea. I think everyone thinks this is the ground floor. This is as bad as it's going to get for the Jaguars for a long, long time. Look, there are going to be ups and downs, certainly, but I think the sustainability that people sense with this organization is what's got the excitement level where it is.
And I think also there is a nervous tick about tonight's game that comes from fans who are used to being disappointed by the Titans. But I think there's also the sense that this is not the same team that they've watched. This is a completely new team with a quarterback, and he's been on stages like this before. Bright lights at Clemson, national championship game as a freshman. He's not fazed by it, and he doesn't want the fans to be either. Well, Christian Kirk, the high-dollar free agent wide receiver who just finished putting up his first 1,000-yard season, saw something special building in Jacksonville last spring. He knew what was possible. He isn't surprised by this either.
I mean, to be honest with you, I had a good feeling, just knowing the type of locker room that was already here and just the opportunity at hand, with, the staff and everybody that was involved and, kind of turning this thing around. I knew if we came together, we have the talent and, there's the type of culture, especially once we got into this thing. I know the month of, October was a little rough for us, but, once things started turning around, we started playing the ball that, we've all knew we could play to. Things started looking well. So just looking forward to keeping it up.
And Christian Kirk's a big part of this, too. Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson prioritized high-character guys, high-football character guys. In addition, you have to have good, talented players, right? But not everybody fits in with the mix that you're looking to build. They have built a really strong locker room here, Brian. And I think the success, having the young quarterback, having this environment, having a state with great weather and no state income tax, this can become a destination city. I truly believe that in the National Football League.
Green Bay of the South.
Absolutely. Why not?
Green Bay of the South, without a doubt.
You got to win to do it, but they're in position.
When you have a quarterback, it draws people in. And with the brand new facility that will open late next summer before the start of training camp, that's just one more thing that people can look at and say things have changed. In Jacksonville, well, it's winner take all tonight. That can put some pressure, especially on young players. Devin Lloyd played in some Pac-12 championship games during his time at Utah. He's been in these winner take all games before, but he understands it might be a little bit different tonight.
I mean, I've had a few crunch games in college to where if we lost, then we wouldn't play in the Pac-12 championship. And obviously playing in the Pac-12 championship, I played in 3. So I've been in some critical games. Obviously, this is the next level. This would be the first time in a long time that we could go to the playoffs. So I'm not going to take anything off my prior games, but this one is huge as well, especially for the city of Jacksonville, for this team. And nobody in this building is taking this game lightly.
And that's a big key, right? We're all excited. We can feel however we want that they're going to exercise ghosts or whatever, be nervous. This team is businesslike, approaching it that way. Look, Devin Lloyd, appreciate that Pac-12 championship game experience. You didn't line up across Derrick Henry when he's going to get the ball 30 times in any of those games. So pack a lunch tonight, buddy.
All right, let's wrap it up with a thought on Josh Dobbs, the quarterback who will play tonight for the Tennessee Titans. He was here, you might recall, in 2019 after Nick Foles went down. He's been around the league. He was most recently on the practice squad of the Detroit Lions until 2 weeks ago when he was signed by the Titans. Josh Allen remembers him from the practice field and thinks the Jaguars had better be ready because Josh Dobbs will be.
I know he's a hell of a person, actually. I've had many conversations with him. We was actually close buddies. We even talked about our college days a little bit when he was here. Much respect for him. We even went in the preseason against the Browns, man. It was all love. So I know he's already got that locker room good. So I know this team is going to be ready to play. So we're going to have to we want to bring our A game. But much respect for Josh. I know he's going to come in, do what he need to do, and try to get the job done.
Smart guy. He'll be prepared, but the fact of the matter is he's only been with that organization less than a month. I mean, he's been forced into duty here because they don't feel like Malik Willis is ready.
Do you expect to see a guy who is significantly better with Derrick Henry behind him?
Oh, I think he
Or is he
showed
just
us,
what he is, I guess?
Look, I think he showed us he's significantly better than what Malik Willis had shown regardless. He did it without Derrick Henry, threw for about 250 yards. They haven't had that kind of passing game since Ryan Tannehill went down. So I'm curious to see what he could do. I hope the Jags are able to shut him down. But look, if I'm Tennessee, we all know the focus is going to be on stop Derrick Henry. I'm going to try to take advantage of that early with some play-action shots, and presuming Treylon Burks is able to go tonight. He was not available for the first time around. I don't think the Jags defense is going to take anything for granted because Dobbs is the name on the back of the jersey.
All right, you'll hear more from the locker room, coaches and players throughout the week as they prepared for tonight's playoff game. Essentially, it's the AFC South Championship game. If there is such a thing, it is tonight here at TIAA Bank Field. But before we get there, we have to go back to E.T. because we missed him last week, to be honest with you. There was a vibe that was missing.
There was. I wonder if he's able to contain himself. I have not heard this segment yet for this week.
So this is new to you?
This totally, it usually is new to me, for that matter. He usually puts it together at the end of the week, but I can't wait to hear what he's got in
It is
store.
as energetic and entertaining a segment as there is in Jacksonville radio, and we present it here to you now on the Publix Tailgate Show. Here is Come On Somebody.
All right, I'm trying to set the vibe. None of that cute stuff. Oh, here we go. Come on, somebody! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! None of that cute stuff today. None of that all Gucci goo. Nah. Because tonight, as one of my good friends would say, we about that action, boss. You see, it's real simple. You either win or you take that behind home. And quite frankly, I ain't ready to go home. I love it here. And judging by how my phone line was looking, y'all love it here too. Y'all know how the game go. Come on, somebody.
Vrabel, you Belichick degenerate.
Oh, my.
Welcome to the River City, the place where your playoff hopes and dreams come to die.
Sheesh.
Suck it, Vrabel.
Oh, shoot. Now, that's the type of language and attitude that will absolutely be tolerated, especially during Titans Hate Week. Come on, somebody.
Hey, suck it, Mike Vrabel.
Oh, my gosh. Does anybody else want to tell Mike Vrabel to, yeah? No? All right, bro. What's good?
I remember sitting in that stadium waiting on the players to return after the upset victory over Denver in the playoffs.
Yeah?
What a thrilling time. The only thing that's going to make this one better is we don't have to wait on the players. We're going to claim the AFC South, and we're going to party with them in the bank.
Yeah! Talk your talk, Tim!
Duval!
Come on, somebody!
E.T., it's your boy Andre. Come on, somebody! Duval! Come on, somebody, let's get them Titans revenge for 99. I was in the bank in 99. I'll be there in 2023. Goodbye, Derrick Henry. We love you, but it's Duval time. Let's go, Jaguars!
This is what we've been waiting for, Jacksonville. The brawl for it all in Duval! Hey, I promised to get a Trevor Lawrence tattoo if the Jags made the playoffs. I'm right there with you, Leon. Go, Jags!
Hold the man and stuff Henry like a holiday turkey, baby.
BT who, baby, here. What up? Jags, win the game and make us proud and enjoy it. Come on, somebody. Playoffs.
Hello, this is a 1-minute free call from
Maurice.
An inmate at a Department of Corrections institution.
Oh, an inmate from Tennessee trying to get on my line? I wonder what he got to say.
To accept this free call, press 0. To refuse this free call, hang up or press 1. Your call was not accepted.
Ha! Guess I ain't gonna find out today, sucker! Come on, somebody.
We said a long time ago that we wanted this thing to come down to Week 18, and it has.
Yes, it has. Us versus them for the AFC South Division title. Y'all be safe, y'all be smart, and meet me in the Bud Zone. Come on, somebody.
Wow. ET's making it right now, by the way, to the rounds of about 50 tailgates that he's been invited to.
Let me tell you something now. What's really incredible is you could say he saved the best for last since it's Week 18.
Absolutely.
But I can't wait to find out what he's got lined up for a playoff edition of Come On Somebody.
By the way, he is actually good, close personal friends with Marshawn Lynch, ET is, and that's where that quote came from. Look, it's a whole thing, okay?
All right.
ET and Cliff Averill raised together as
there you
brothers,
go.
and he knows all those Seattle guys. All the Seahawk guys. So he knows all those Jag guys, too. ET's the best.
All right. Without a doubt, that is my favorite segment in Jacksonville radio. Before we leave, let's tell you what's coming up next.
When your opportunity does arrive, you just do your job. And my job on that play was to make sure the man with the ball carrier didn't get any more yards. So
that's Shaq Quarterman talking about the hit, the big one that probably turned everything around in the second quarter in Nashville earlier in the season. Plus, CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco is coming up next. The Jaguars and Titans are less than 3 hours away. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
The Titans-Jaguars game is proudly sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Vision, the makers of AccuView brand contact lenses. Johnson & Johnson Vision has been rooted in Jacksonville, Florida for more than 40 years, with tools for every stage of your eye health journey, from contact lenses and dry eye to childhood myopia and cataract surgery. They help to restore sight for millions of people around the world. You can prioritize your eyes by scheduling a comprehensive eye exam with an eye care professional today. Go Jags!
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. In-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Paid for by FDOT.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues here in hour number one. Brian Sexton along with Mike Dempsey. Titans, Jaguars for the AFC South title. Doesn't get any better than that, Mike. We talked throughout the season about getting to Thanksgiving with games of significance, even if it was they needed this, that, and the other thing to happen. Then we got to Christmas. All right, here we go. And now down to the last Sunday of the regular season with it all on the line. I mean, to say that they've exceeded expectations this year, I think that's safe to say.
Oh, I think so, too. Maybe not the expectations you had when they drafted Trevor Lawrence, back at the beginning of the prior season, but after the way that rookie season went, you felt like everything was moved back a year on the timeline. They've accelerated. I think they've caught up to where I think a lot of people thought they would be. And you're right, Brian. As the season went on, all those things you needed to have happen started to get less and less and less. And here we are, and I got a chance to talk with Pete Prisco, CBS Sports senior NFL writer this week, and just remarking on how amazing it is that based on the start this team had, 2-6 this year, that they are hosting a win and get in basically a playoff game tonight.
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, if you would have told me this 7 weeks ago, I would have told you were crazy. But again, I go back to 96. If you would have told me what happened that season, 7 weeks left in the season, I would have told you were crazy as well. So it's incredible, and, it's all sitting right in front of them. And if they can't get this done, it would be an epic fail because of the way the Titans are playing and because of all the injuries the Titans have.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, the Jags should be considered the strong favorite in this football game, but it doesn't always go the favorite's way. And I kind of like, Pete, I think there are members of this team that are embracing this rivalry, even though it's been so one-sided for the recent history. Josh Allen talked about recently, hey, when he got drafted, they told him, we hate the Titans around here. And, Trevor Lawrence has referenced it. So it's kind of nice that this era of Jaguar players is buying into a rivalry that really goes back to the 1990s.
Yeah, and that is a good thing. I mean, look, the disdain for that team in that city and with the Jacksonville Jaguars will live forever. I mean, all you got to do go back to 1999. They were within a whisker going to the Super Bowl, and they came in there and beat them. And it's been a rivalry like that for a long time. I always like to say it hasn't been the same since the safety in 1999. It turned the whole thing around, and they didn't go to the Super Bowl that year, and they've kind of been the chasing them for a long time. So this is an opportunity to get back a little bit of that and try and win what I think is probably one of the biggest regular season games, if not the biggest regular season game in the franchise history.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe the most anticipated regular season game in franchise history right now with all the backstory here. Pete, the first matchup with the Titans, the Jags defense managed to get 4 turnovers. This was after Derrick Henry had nearly 100 yards rushing in the first half, and it really changed the game script. Let's say they don't get that turnover flurry. What gives you confidence that the Jags will be able to slow Derrick Henry tonight?
Well, Mike, the offensive line of the Titans is even worse than it was then, and it wasn't very good then. They've had all kinds of problems. They've had all kinds of injuries. There's one guy who's starting at the spot where they thought he would start to open the season, and that's left guard Aaron Brewer, and he hasn't been very good himself. He's a smallish offensive lineman, probably weighs about 285 pounds. So I think that's where the advantage can be for Jacksonville. They can get after that offensive line, and once Derrick Henry, if you can get him in the backfield and don't allow him to get his feet going, I think he's going to have problems running the football. I know he's had great success against them in his career. I know he had great success against them early in that game before the turnovers. But we've seen teams in recent weeks stop him. The Bengals did it about a month or so ago when they went in there and did it. And I think you got to get penetration, got to get up the field. Don't let him get his legs going.
Last time out, Evan Ingram torched the Titans for 162 yards receiving, Pete. Obviously, they are aware of that. They're going to try to make some adjustments. Do you think the Jags will have continued success going the Ingram route, or will they have to look elsewhere tonight?
Well, I think you can still go to him, but I think if they start putting a focus on him, that opens everybody else. And one thing Doug Peterson does is he finds the weak spot in that defense, and they'll attack it. And they've done a great job. The Jaguars make you defend the entire field, and there aren't a lot of teams that do that. They go sideline to sideline, and it makes it tough to defend them. When they played the Jets, they operated in the middle of the field because the Jets were good on the outside. Now, if they start taking away Ingram in the middle, then you start going to the outside. So I think Doug Peterson's play calling, which has been outstanding, by the way, will be key in this game.
Pete, how about you and I agree to get together and do this again next week?
To be honest with you, Mike, I think we will be. This is the moment this young team can grab it, show how good they can be and get into the postseason. And if they do that, they're ahead of schedule. And it's one of the great turnarounds. Remember, they drafted first overall the last 2 years. They had to deal with the worst coach in the history of the National Football League in Urban Meyer. And here they are within a whisker of going to the playoffs in Doug Peterson's first year. That is incredible.
And I think, Brian, if I'm not mistaken, first team, if they're able to win tonight, to go from worst record in the league to a division champion since the Dolphins in 2008,
yes.
I want to say,
yep,
right?
That's it. We have been building to this moment now for a couple of weeks since we realized that no matter what happened in Week 17, Week 18 is where it would all go. And there is a lot of anticipation, anxiety, even maybe a little tension. That's what makes this fun, but not in the locker room. You know, he was talking about this team and where they are. They're still a young team, Mike, but Doug Peterson has them playing at a much different level of maturity than I think any of us could have expected in 1 year.
It's showing. The results are showing on the field, and they've said it all along. They believed that they could do this. A lot of teams say that, but they never wavered, and they're showing us that they put themselves in position at least.
And one of the reasons why is they've got a locker room full of guys like our next guest, Shaq Quarterman, who is this week's Baptist Health Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute player interview. They are the official healthcare provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he was just doing his job a few weeks ago in Nashville. He couldn't wait for the chance to make a play, and the play was on fellow Jacksonville area native Derrick Henry. He believes in just doing his job, whether that's on special teams, where right now he currently lives, or when he gets on the field and has a chance to play linebacker. Shaq Quarterman is ready to do his job.
I think of competitive excellence, making the most of your opportunities. That's the only thing I think about. I think about when your opportunity does arrive, you just do your job. And my job on that play was to make sure the man with the ball carrier didn't get any more yards. So that was my main focus on that one. It was just running to the ball, man, good things happen. And that's been the rule of football since I was in Pop Warner.
How excited are you for what's coming against the Titans on Saturday night? This is your hometown. You know how much they love football here. And to be a part of it in the way that you are, you've got to be really excited.
It's hard to put it in words, with an opportunity like this, you just try to make the most of it. And you do that by, putting in the work and then and a little bit more. You prepare, take care of your body, so that when the game comes, you can grace the stage how you're supposed to, It does no good to be in this type of environment and not show up for the game,
What have you learned about yourself through this journey in the NFL? I mean, you were a star at Miami and you had to come here and you had to work your way up the ladder through special teams. What did it teach you about you?
Teach me about patience. Teach me about really competitive excellence at a bigger stage. It tells me that, everybody in the league is good and that when your time arrives and it's your season to play, that's your opportunity. So you got to strike while the iron's hot and continue to press the issue.
So you've seen this team when it wasn't very good. How good are you guys right now?
I think we're playing some good football, man. From special teams to offense to defense, I feel like, around this time of the season, we've just been chipping away at what we already knew from the beginning of the season, And it's just to continue to do that, not change anything, not just do what we do.
Is it easy to enjoy this, or do you have to focus on enjoying the moment that you're in because you're so darn busy with everything you've got to get done during the course of the week?
I say for me personally, it's a little tough because I'm one to only celebrate after things are done, and you're supposed to enjoy the whole journey, which you do. But for me, I enjoy it by doing my due diligence, and my preparation, We just blessed to be in this position, to be in this game, so you got to do the right thing.
So I know you know the name Keenan McCardell, and he stood at that locker right over there that Chad Moom is sitting at in 1996, well before you were born, but he famously said, "Why not us?" And what he was talking about is, why can't we get into this thing and make some noise? So what do you say?
Why not us? I think he hit it right on the head, man. And I think just the way that we've been showing up is all that we need to say. That's the only thing that we need to say. That's the only thing we need to focus on is us. Because there was a time where it was just only us believing in this locker room. So, just stick to the things that we know. Stick to the things that got us here.
He's a backup. He sounds like a starter. What a sharp young man.
Yeah.
And when you have depth like that, a guy who can play on special teams at a high level, Mike, but then jump in and play in a game like today, and he's going to get reps against Derrick Henry with them wanting to run the ball as much as possible, a guy like Shaq Quarterman's invaluable.
Well, his forced fumble not only turned around that game against Tennessee, I think Josh Allen kind of referenced it. It showed us, hey, we're kind of capable of more than we're showing here. And while they gave up 34 points to the Dallas Cowboys, they've gone up against a couple of offenses they should have been able to handle the last couple weeks, and they treated them exactly that way, allowing only 6 total points. This is not a Tennessee offense clicking on all cylinders. We'll see if that defense continues to show up tonight.
And one way they can is to take the ball away and give it back to Press Taylor and the offense. And by the way, the offensive coordinator is coming up.
Somebody's life is on the line in this situation. Everybody just needs to put all our thoughts and prayers with him, his family, and everybody involved in the situation. And I'm proud of the way my brother handled that, but that's what I expect out of him as well.
His brother, obviously, Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. He had a front row seat to the goings-on on Monday night and has some thoughts to share with us. All that and more, plus coming up in 15 minutes. First round's on us, Jeff and Tony from the broadcast booth. All that and more straight ahead on the Publix Tailgate Show here on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. SMART. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
The original pizza logs are a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and available at the stadium on game day. You'll find those delicious gourmet pizza egg rolls at concession stands, clubs, and suites. For all their products, be sure to check out pizzalogs.com and have them delivered right to your home. That's pizzalogs.com.
Put down the burger, put down the dog. Pick up the original pizza log. There's only one. The original pizza log. Yeah.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
When you show your home love with a natural gas water heater, it loves you right back with more cost-efficient, endless hot water.
Hon, hurry it up, please.
And right now, you'll love earning a cash rebate up to $700 when you install an energy-efficient natural gas water heater.
We're going to be late.
Again.
What? Did you say something, hon?
To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
The Titans-Jaguars game is proudly sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Vision, the makers of AccuView brand contact lenses. Johnson & Johnson Vision has been rooted in Jacksonville, Florida for more than 40 years, with tools for every stage of your eye health journey, from contact lenses and dry eye to childhood myopia and cataract surgery. They help to restore sight for millions of people around the world. You can prioritize your eyes by scheduling a comprehensive eye exam with an eye care professional today. Go Jags!
Welcome back to the Publix Tailgate Show. Hour number 1, JP Shadrick will be here for hours 2 and 3. Kickoff between the Jaguars and Titans coming up at 8:15. Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by our friends at VyStar. VyStar Credit Union reminds you to do good and bank better. Tonight's game, by the way, sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Vision, providing healthy sight for life. Johnson & Johnson Vision. Brian Sexton along with Mike Dempsey. And it's time now for commentary on this week's game from Rick Ballou.
It would have been fun to define this game as two ships passing in the night, but that's not the case. Heck, that's a lie. Tennessee, they have sunk. They're all gone. Meanwhile, the Jaguars, it's full steam ahead. Sure, Mike Vrabel rested his players last week, and sure, he gets many of them back tonight. 3 defensive starters, as well as the king, Derrick Henry. Sure, Jacksonville had a short week, only 5 days to get ready, and absolutely, Tennessee has been a team who has been a thorn in the side of the Jaguars. Not tonight. Not only does Jacksonville win, they win big. Why? Doug Peterson. Trevor Lawrence told us about the crystal ball he grabbed after beginning the year 2-6, and it's worked. He said, keep getting after it. Keep believing. And in Week 18, you'll have a shot. Believing in his players is what Peterson has done, and his players have played extra hard for him, pushing the right buttons, such as the video, 8 in a row that Nashville had gotten it done against Duval a couple of weeks ago. We remember what happened then. A couple of numbers to consider in this one. First off, point differential. Jaguars plus 50, Tennessee minus 57. That's 107 points difference between Jacksonville and Tennessee. Unbelievable. Tennessee is last in pass defense in the National Football League. 280 yards. Trevor Lawrence and offense tonight should have a huge evening. The Titans have lost 6 in a row. They're 30th on total offense, 25th in total defense. So, for Jag fans, this game should be, by halftime, more of a question of who do you want to host next week? Jacksonville, 31. Tennessee, 14.
All right, thanks, Rick. Time now for my conversation with offensive coordinator Press Taylor, who looks like a coach who knows what he wants and has the sound of a coach who's getting it. The Jaguars' offense has been a revelation since the beginning of November, and while it always comes down to the quarterback, well, he knows there's a lot of reasons for the way that things are going. It does start with a young quarterback who steps onto a much bigger stage on Saturday evening. Taylor sounds unfazed by a sold-out stadium and a primetime playoff atmosphere and thinks that his quarterback is as well.
We're very confident just in the process we've seen through Trevor. You know, he's grown every single week we've played. That's all we've asked for him. He trusts the process. He's kind of fine-tuned his process each week to get himself ready for game day, whatever that looks like. So we're confident that he's going to lean on his process, trust the preparation that he's put in, and then you know, he's done a good job of letting the guys around him play and make plays for him, and that's what we expect out of him.
You've said before that he was one of the things that attracted you to this job, and I have to imagine a lot of that was where he's been and what he's done at Clemson. Big games aren't new to him, are they?
No, he's a winner. That's what you want. You want a franchise guy that you build this thing around that you know can rise to the occasion in these moments. Or not necessarily rise to the occasion, but just lean back on his preparation, like I'm saying. And that's something that you see out of Trevor, and I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him, but we're excited to see how he plays.
You know, I know the coach and Trevor have both said that game in London was sort of a turning point. Was there a moment that you saw the light come on where you're like, all right, he's ready to take a step?
Maybe the Baltimore game, just making those plays. It was kind of, you hear that and you see that, and then that moment came where probably early in the year we didn't make those plays. We had some situations where we had the ball, whatever the situation, could be a dire situation, could be, we have a minute 50, and we weren't executing, we weren't winning the game on those plays. And the Baltimore one was the first time that really manifested itself where we finished the game, made those types of plays. So then it was kind of like we knew how close we were and how we were coming up just short. But to see that just get done and the way he played at the end of the game, the way he handled himself and the way the guys fed off the confidence he was showing, that kind of made you like, all right, this is a real deal now.
You've been around this league long enough to know the free agency sometimes takes time. But your top 3 receivers are all free agents. Are you surprised, although I've never met a coach that was surprised, but are you pleasantly surprised at what they've been able to do?
Yeah, I don't know that you take time to appreciate the numbers or anything like that. We just brought in guys that we feel like we could put around our young quarterback to get the best out of him. In turn, he's going to get the best out of them. And that's kind of what's happened where all these guys end up having a career year. Well, you feel like if you have a franchise guy, he's going to make everybody around him better. So that's the expectation. And now that's kind of, I don't know if it's the chicken or the egg, but being able to put in that time to work with guys that are willing to work with him, and then that kind of manifests itself through the season of now all the time on task, all the chemistry we've spent time to develop is showing late in the season when we need it to. So, you like to say you anticipated it with these guys, but it's all the credits to them, their work ethic, their character, and then the things they're doing on the field.
But I can remember talking to Christian Kirk, and he was the primary option early on, and thinking, well, if they can just get 17 and 7 started, and then they got started. Can you just speak to those two players and how the second half of the season they've lifted their games?
Yeah, and I think part of that's just that continued time on task together, the communication, the extra routes, the extra throwing, the in-game adjustments they've been able to do. So that's been huge, but it's not like we didn't have faith in them early on. The ball just wasn't going that way. Christian was winning his opportunities, was getting maybe a few more opportunities based on coverage, really. It wasn't like he was the only guy we were scheming for. And then those other guys start getting opportunities, start making plays. Now it's just there's complete confidence in the system and Trevor to just go to the right place with the ball. And, we try to spread it out, make sure everybody's got their primary targets. And then the game itself, it kind of is just dictated by the way the defense is playing and taking what they're giving us.
The Titans are a really good run defense, and they didn't give you many opportunities to get Travis started last time out. Is he at a point where you think you can get him started against anybody after a big day in Houston?
Yeah, there's certainly, he's the type of guy, it only takes one run, which, there's guys in the league that could have home run ability, but he definitely has it, and he's shown that throughout the year. So, it could be tough sledding here and there, and then Travis breaks one, and maybe that kind of opens the floodgates. However that may be, we do believe in running the football here. We believe we're good at it, but we want to be smart about the way we approach it, and we'll pick our spots, and we'll try to commit to it, stick with it, but we're going to do whatever it takes to move the ball at the end of the day.
And on that, how about a quick note about backup left tackle, backup left guard, rookie center, free agent, right guard, and all of a sudden this offensive line's playing as well as it has, trust me, in years.
Yeah. That's kind of the other thing, like we talked about with the quarterback and the receivers. Everybody's just time together, gelling together. A lot of that comes from their room. They spend a lot of time together as an offensive line group, talking, communicating, putting all things out there on the table. So Walker wasn't playing, but Walker was hearing all those conversations. And then you line them up. We have 2 veteran guards that we trust a lot. And so those guys have, like the quarterback elevating the receivers elevating, they've elevated everybody around them. So a young rookie center leans over to his right or his left. He's got guys that have played a lot of ball. And then the tackles on the edges, they look inside. They're talking to guys that have communicated with them all year based on every single situation we've seen. So I think you're just seeing a lot of that kind of show the chemistry, the time put on task, and the developments showing at the right time, I guess.
And I guess the final thought is it's been a difficult week in the NFL with what happened in Cincy. Everyone knows your brother's the head coach there. Just a thought on how he and the whole situation unfolded, and have you had a conversation with him, and how is he?
Yeah, it's certainly an extremely tragic situation that you don't ever plan for. Nobody plans for. There's no manual, there's no playbook for what we do. We as coaches like to be in control and have our routines and all that, and this is something that I think the human nature just kind of takes over. And that's what I was excited to see, or not excited to see, but, I respect greatly out of my brother and Coach McDermott, the Bills organization, the Bengals organization, and the NFL. I think there was just human nature took over right there. There was no need for the game to continue on. Somebody's life is on the line in this situation. Everybody just needs to put all our thoughts and prayers with him, his family, and everybody involved in the situation. And, I'm proud of the way my brother handled that, but that's what I expect out of him as well.
Offensive coordinator Press Taylor rightfully proud of his brother and their efforts in the unfortunate situation on Monday night with DeMar Hamlin. And the numbers painted in the 3. You see the T-shirts all across. We're watching the Kansas City Raiders game here in the studio during the breaks. There is a lot of attention focused there on that young man's recovery, and all these players obviously have it top of mind. Just a quick thought on Press Taylor. Not this year, probably. And he'll always have to overcome being an offensive coordinator with a head coach who calls plays. But every time he opens his mouth, I think I'm listening to a future head coach.
Well, I think you're probably right. And it's why it's the ideal scenario in today's NFL to have an offensive-minded head coach, because you're going to get your offensive coordinator poached, especially if you're a defensive-minded head coach and Press Taylor's doing this kind of a job this year. Someone's going to come along and want to make him their head guy. Then you've got to start the cycle over. The continuity is going to be Doug Peterson working with Trevor Lawrence for the next how many
we're very
years.
confident just in the process.
So that's where we're at. And at Press Taylor, I hope he does get a head coaching gig one day. That means he's excelled at his job here in Jacksonville.
Without a doubt. Well, PRI Productions is the official event production company of the Jaguars. They have everything you need to bring your idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. Coming up at the top of the hour, JP Shadrick steps into this chair. But before we get there, Jeff Lageman and Hall of Famer Tony Baselli join us from the broadcast booth. The Titans and Jaguars kick off at 8:15. You're listening to the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to tap into their inner eagle and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So fly over the radar. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Join the Jaguars in D.C., Los Angeles. Watch them win in Philly, Indy, Detroit, Nashville, New York, and Houston. When you fly nonstop from Jax, on airport parking will punt the stress from your travel itinerary. Garage facilities offer defensive coverage from the weather and are a 50-yard dash from the terminal. Economy parking is just $6 a day. To learn more about nonstop flights and on-airport parking, visit flyjax.com.
The creamiest, dreamiest soft ice cream you get from Mr. Softy. For a refreshing delight supreme, look for Mr. Softy. The milkshakes and the sundaes and the cones are such a treat. Look out for the ice cream stand, enjoy it from your seat. The creamiest, dreamiest soft ice cream you get from Mr. Softy. For a refreshing delight supreme, look for Mr. Softy. S-O-F-T-E-E, Mr. Softy.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
Back on hour number one of the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Brian and Mike with you. Kickoff coming at 8:15. And tonight's game is sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Vision, providing healthy sight for life. And now it's time for the first rounds on us. Hall of Famer Tony Baselli and former first-round pick Jeff Lageman join us from the broadcast booth, brought to you by UF Health, delivering compassionate care and world-class outcomes. That's our game plan. And the finding solution question for you gentlemen here on Saturday evening of Week 18 is, what's your approach to Joshua Dobbs?
My approach is play man, load the box, and see if he can beat you. Because the one guy you don't want to beat you is Derrick Henry. And so I think it's one of those situations, if you're Mike Caldwell, you're like, all right, we're playing. They're not great at receiver. They got a rookie tight end who's a good player. They had a quarterback that has been there about 18 days. And they got one of the best backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
So let's take care of the best back and worry about, man-to-man and see if Josh Dobbs can beat us.
Yeah, play a lot of 8 in the box, because of Derrick Henry, obviously. And then that's the key. I mean, if you can find a way to control Derrick Henry, because I don't think you're ever going to stop him. I mean, he's just too good of a back, and the emphasis is going to be on him, and sooner or later he's going to get some carries, and they're going to have some success doing that. You just got to minimize the damage that he does. And then the reality is that if you can put Josh Dobbs in long down and distance situations, the tackles for Tennessee are the 2 worst pass protecting tackles in the National Football League. And the change from the last meeting, because that was the exact same situation in the last meeting, the change is that the Titans do not have Ben Jones, the starting center from the previous game, and they also don't have Nate Davis, the starting right guard. So I would expect a lot of guys to be able to have success rushing the passer when given the opportunity, Brian.
Guys, good afternoon. Obviously, great day, great week of excitement for the Jaguars. And, looking at what they're facing tonight, they didn't go against Treylon Burks, the rookie wide receiver out of Arkansas, the first time they played against Tennessee. Can he be kind of an X factor in this game if they're able to protect Joshua Dobbs long enough to take some shots?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how healthy he is, Mike. He popped up on the injury report in the practice during the week of practice with a groin injury. So how does that impact him today? But I think he is the one guy that can be, a big play type of guy. But the reality is if you don't have the time or the wherewithal to be able to get him the ball, he's not that much of a threat. And he's a rookie too. I mean, rookies have a tendency to be inconsistent, especially when they've got a quarterback making a second career start.
Let me go back to what I said a second ago. They're average at best at receiver. They have a quarterback who just showed up. They have a good tight end, and they have an all-pro running back. Stop him. I'm not worried about anybody else. Josh Dobbs, Treylon Burks, name them. It does not matter. This game is about one thing. It's about offensively getting a fast start, protect the ball, don't turn it over, because you do not want to give Tennessee extra possessions. Get a 2-possession lead, and it's game, set, match. Because if you force the Tennessee Titans to play from behind, play in long down and distance situations with Josh Dobbs having to throw the ball, they can't win. They cannot win. This is if they get Derrick Henry going and make it a sloppy, physical, nasty game, get a turnover or two, they win the turnover margin. Hold on to your hat because it's gonna be tight.
Yeah, what concerns me is that this becomes a smash mouth kind of low scoring affair if Tennessee's defense plays really well. That's what concerns me because they're capable of it. Simmons on the inside of that defensive line and Tart, those 2 defensive tackles I think are 2 of the best in the National Football League. And then they've got Danico Autry back in the lineup, which he was not available to play against the Jaguars the last time. And if all of a sudden Kevin Byard all of a sudden starts finding his nose for the ball and Trevor, puts a couple that might be intercepted, I mean, that's the way I think you lose this ball game, is that if you turn the ball over offensively and then the Titans are allowed to play a close football game and control that tempo and low-scoring game with Derrick Henry.
All right, guys, what about the Jags' own running game? Tennessee is very stout against the run, second only to San Francisco in the National Football League. Travis Etienne, 17 carries for only 32 yards the first time around. Do they need to have more success in that department, or is a Trevor Lawrence-led passing attack enough tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be all about Trevor because, Mike, you just said it. Tennessee's one of the best run defenses in the NFL. Jeff talked about Simmons and Tart. Those guys are 2 studs. They are really good football players, and it's going to be tough sledding. I think if you want to have a chance to run the ball, you got to throw it first. You got to spread them out. You have to get them force them in the nickel, let them, force them to defend horizontally and vertically, so kind of create natural spacing. Then you can get Travis Etienne going. But this is not a day where you're just going to line up and give it to Travis Etienne and he's going to go to work. It's all about Trevor Lawrence. It's about Evan Ingram, who had a big game last time they faced, over 160 yards. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. Those are the guys who have to have big day today for this offense to score points.
Yeah, and then the last time Trevor faced this Titans team, I mean, God, he was fantastic. He was in command. He was quick. He was decisive. He was accurate. He was athletic. And, if he can be somewhat close to that performance, which got him the AFC Player of the Week award, I mean, if he can be close to that, I don't think there's any stopping the Jaguars in this ball game. And I kept thinking about this throughout the day. I was like, man, I just don't see Trevor Lawrence losing to Josh Dobbs. It can't happen, right? That's what I keep thinking. That's what I'm hoping.
I am hoping that as well. I'm not going to say I'm not going to be responsible for anything jinx-wise. Evan Ingram did have the 15 targets, right? He had the 11 catches, 162 yards. Titans are well aware of that, guys. So do you anticipate Doug Peterson and Press Taylor maybe putting some looks together that would force Tennessee to think that Evan Ingram is going to be the primary and maybe try to take advantage of their over-eagerness to shut him down and go other places?
Well, absolutely. I think that you come out and then you throw it to Evan and then until Tennessee proves that they can stop it. And then all of a sudden, if you can find a way to kind of fake a little bit of that to Evan and draw more attention to Evan, then great. Then Zay and Christian Kirk can have big games. And I really believe this. Christian Kirk can have a big game against this Tennessee Titans defense. And the reason I say that, I don't think there's anybody that can cover him in a short area. He's got better short area quickness than any Titans defensive back. There's not a guy, in my opinion, on the Titans secondary that can cover him.
So, guys, I ask you this every week. Maybe among players we haven't mentioned so far, who's an X factor for you tonight?
Well, I think let me start offensively. We just talked about we're going to have to throw the ball. And obviously, talk about Trevor and all the skill guys. Walker Little has to have a good night. Danico Autry is a good pass rusher. And so both, I highlight Walker because he's coming in for Cam Robinson, getting his, I think this is his second start. Third game, he's really playing significant time. Juwan Taylor, those two guys need to have good nights. And then interiorly, you look at the matchup of Shatley against Simmons and Tart, you probably would say that favors Tennessee. So I think that offensive line needs to have a good night tonight, Mike.
Yeah, and I'll go on the other side of the ball. And for me, it's Foye Lucan against Derrick Henry. You got to have your linebacker be a beast against Derrick Henry. And then when you do have the opportunity to rush the passer, then Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, Arden Key, those guys have to take advantage of two subpar tackles.
All right, Tony, Jeff, thanks so much. Have a good broadcast this evening. The energy level in this building, and there's not even fans in it yet. I don't think the gates have opened, and you can feel it already.
4 minutes, Brian, they open up.
Yep, coming quick. All right, that'll do it for hour number 1. JP Shadrick slides into the seat for hour number 2, week 18. It's been a fun ride. Let's do it again next week.
I was just going to say, see you next week, Brian.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. You're listening to Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hey, Jags fans. Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
The Titans-Jaguars game is proudly sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Vision, the makers of AccuView brand contact lenses. Johnson & Johnson Vision has been rooted in Jacksonville, Florida for more than 40 years, with tools for every stage of your eye health journey, from contact lenses and dry eye to childhood myopia and cataract surgery. They help to restore sight for millions of people around the world. You can prioritize your eyes by scheduling a comprehensive eye exam with an eye care professional today. Go Jags!
Veterans, you may have earned a variety of VA benefits. Did you know VA can help you further your education and pursue professional training? The Home Loan Guarantee Program can help you buy, repair, or adapt a home. VA provides housing support if you find yourself homeless or at risk of homelessness. And don't forget world-class health care. Learn more about these and other VA benefits. Visit choose.va.gov.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
It is hour number 2 of the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. 2 hours away from Week 18 and a Saturday night special, a winner-take-all showdown for the AFC South title. The Tennessee Titans at 7-9, the Jacksonville Jaguars 8-8. Kickoff coming up at 8:15 tonight. And tonight's game is sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Vision, providing healthy sight for life. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey. We're in the Jaguars Radio Network studio, deep inside TIAA Bank Field. After Week 11, the Jaguars were 3-7. The Titans were 7-3 and running away with it. Since then, the Jags are 5-1. The Titans have lost 6 straight. And, Mike, it's all come down to tonight for the AFC South crown.
It's amazing, JP. I mean, it's a playoff game. Doug Peterson said we can call it a playoff game. I mean, you win, you continue on. You're going to host another game next week. If you get that, I just want to give a shout-out to all the fans out there that are making this atmosphere special more than 2 hours ahead of the game. All the lettered lots around the stadium, out at the slab with the Bold City Brigade and the Teal Street Hooligans, over at the fairgrounds and tailgaters and WJCT, and any lot you're in right now. I was told that Lot J is going off right now, and I got photo representation of just that. They are thick as thieves out there in their teal today, and I love it.
It's going to be awesome. What a scene it should be inside the bank tonight. A sellout crowd for the Titans and the Jaguars. Here are some of tonight's top stories, starting with the Jaguars starting this season 2-6, but they turned it around in the second half with a 6-2 mark, including the current 4-game win streak. But for head coach Doug Peterson, the early adversity built a bond.
You know, the teams that are in the postseason conversations this time of year, I think everybody kind of feels that bond amongst the team. You know, and it's a genuine bond. It kind of builds over the course of the year. Every team. I mean, you guys know you go through adversity. You got the highs, lows of the season. We had that stretch in October that wasn't very good for us, but I think that builds your character, your team. We stayed the course. We stayed, true to what we were doing, and guys do become closer. They understand each other a little bit better, and so you kind of, as you get into games like this, you know that the player next to you has your back just like you have his back, and that's where we're at with this football team, and that can carry a good ways.
Quarterback Trevor Lawrence echoed his head coach. The 5-game losing streak earlier in the year tested the football team.
I always thought this group was really, really good, just obviously like on the field with talent-wise, but also just the way we work, just how resilient everyone is, and that was really tested earlier in the year. After those games without a win, whatever 5-game losing streak, and nobody panicked, nobody pointed to the finger, and I think that's something where, and we talked about it too after probably three or four of those games. Just this is where a lot of teams start to divide, and you start pointing the finger, and people start looking for ways out, and we never did that. We knew how close we were. You look at all those games, 1-score games, and really just a lot of them, it was our own mistakes where we gave away the game. So we knew how close we were and that rock would eventually break, and it did. And I think that's a testament to just the consistency and the work we put in. It doesn't always show right away, but eventually it will.
And it certainly has in the second half of the season, Mike.
No doubt. And a lot of it's been pointed to the Denver game with the interception in London kind of turning things around for Trevor Lawrence. But really, JP, the next week you're down 17 to the Raiders. And if you don't come back and win that game, eventually it's going to get to you. And no matter how how much you keep these games close. You got to win some of these games. Coming back and defeating the Raiders in comeback fashion, then doing it again to the Ravens a couple of weeks later, it saved the season for the Jags, and they've taken advantage of it.
Now to the matchup tonight against Tennessee. The Titans' defense is stout, certainly in the front seven. Offensive coordinator Press Taylor has some different ideas this time around, their second time facing Tennessee.
We certainly are doing our best to put together a plan where we can move the football on the ground if need be, and then doing what we can to come up with complementary passes, movement, screens, play action, whatever that may be, just to put us in the best position, put our players in the best position. We had some certain schemes that we wanted to try against them the first time that probably didn't shape out the way we'd hoped they would. So, you kind of scrap those, look for new ideas, go back to the drawing board a little bit to come up with the best plan.
The play design, the play calling has been fantastic for the Jaguars team this year, of course, and then the execution from the quarterback on the back half of the season to make it look really good, too. So all that combined with all that brain power around on the offensive side of the ball, and you've seen it in spots, certainly in the second half, this team can go out there and play on offense.
Oh, no question, right? I mean, that's what will carry this team as far as they go this year. And the defense has played better in the last few weeks. They've taken advantage of beat-up offenses, but this offense that the Jaguars have right now, when they're playing their best, they can play with anybody on that side of the ball. Obviously starts with Trevor Lawrence, but his skill position guys, his offensive line, they've all shown up big here in the second half of the year, so let's keep it rolling tonight.
Now to defense. Back in Week 14, Derrick Henry put together a strong first quarter, of course, against the Jags, but it was a second quarter hit and forced fumble from Henry by Shaq Quarterman. Some Nassau County on Clay County hitting there in that game, of course, with Quarterman from Oakleaf. Well, that turned the whole game around, and it sparked this 4-game run for the Jaguars. Defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell.
In the first quarter, we didn't play the way we were supposed to play, and Shaq came in, and it was an opportunity for him to get on the field. And he got there, and he made a huge play for us, momentum-changing play, and I think that did spark us, and we've had guys like that all year step up. Dewey steps up. Even thinking about Smoot and Key, just other guys step up, and it's a team where everybody has to pitch in and do their part. And when guys get chances, we've been lucky they've been able to play well.
I think Quarterman was on the field maybe on defense 3 or 4 plays in that whole game, but that one play, he had an opportunity.
Probably the defensive player of the year for this football team, really. I mean, it turned the tide against your rival, showed you that we're going to show up and be just as physical as you are. You're not going to allow to be the bully in the AFC South anymore. So, look, I think Shaq will probably get some opportunities tonight. How many? I don't know, but that linebacker core is going to get tested once again.
Jaguars outside linebacker Josh Allen was in a lull in the middle of the season statistically, but over the last 4 games, he has been back. 3 sacks over the last month of football, including the forced fumble last week that led to the Tyson Campbell touchdown down in Houston. Allen this week in the locker room on what changed over the last 4 weeks for him.
I mean, it was just waiting for my moment. I knew, things wasn't playing out the way that I wish it was. But so it's just staying the course. Talking to a lot of coaches, Todd Washington, man, one offensive guy that I can pick his brain around, things that he see helped me out a lot these last couple weeks, and so it's just continue to grow, continue to stay the course, and continue to, when your team needs you, come up.
Well, that stay the course mantra, I mean, obviously head coach Doug Peterson's had that from a team perspective, but even for Josh Allen, who in the middle of the season was just kind of scuffling a bit, still playing okay, but he knows he has a different level, and just staying the course and doing things the right way week after week. Allen is now getting the benefits of that in the last month.
I think it's not just Allen, not just the defense. I mean, that's been the organization, right? Just believe in what you're doing, and it's easier to believe when you've got a guy who's leading you who's led a team to the ultimate prize, which is the Super Bowl championship. So, Doug Peterson comes in with a lot of goodwill, and he puts together a coaching staff that says, believe in us, we can show you the way to get there. And they stayed close in a lot of those games, JP, and once you start getting those results and you see these different people stepping up at different times, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it starts to snowball in a positive way.
Jaguars safety Rayshon Jenkins has been all over the field this season, of course, and this team is 1 game away from a division title. He knows what's at stake tonight.
We finished this, we in the playoffs, so, hey, man, we looking excited for the challenge, man. It's something that ain't been done around here in a minute, and we want to just change the culture and keep the culture, in the direction that it's headed.
And safety Andrew Wingard credited with the
It was always the Jags mantra. 60,000 rally towels have it on there tonight. What does he expect from the crowd for tonight's game?
It needs to be freaking lit. And I know it is. I can already feel it. Like, nighttime at the bank, place is lit. I mean, ton of noise. I can't wait. I know they're going to give it to us. Going crazy.
Yeah, well, I think that is safe to say with the scene that's outside right now.
All right, tailgaters, every time Dewey says lit, you know what to do.
It's going to be incredible, and it could be one of the biggest crowds here in about a decade. I mean, this is going to be a fantastic matchup, and certainly the Jaguars defense could use the help tonight against the Tennessee Titans. Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. Well, wide receiver Zay Jones was my guest on the Crown Royal Water Break on Jaguars social media earlier this week, and I asked Zay about the approach going into the second matchup against the Tennessee Titans tonight.
I think we just continue to do what we've been doing for the past couple of weeks. It's going to be a great challenge for us. It's going to be a difficult game. They're a really good football team. You know it's hard to beat teams twice. So you have to focus on our execution and the things that we need to do, but we should enjoy it. Again, you know, in light of recent news, we get to play a game. That's a blessing. So not put too much pressure on it. Let the fans enjoy the atmosphere and, you know, our families and loved ones who are going to be there, and just go out and give everything you have to God and just go play.
Different game now, but how much do you look back at Week 14, or is that in the rear view now, the matchup against Tennessee? And, you know, how do you get ready for a game like this when, yeah, maybe that's a few weeks ago. They're a different squad now. There's a lot of guys on their injury report.
Sure. Yeah, but this is also the National Football League. A lot of guys step up. I remember vividly last year when I wasn't a predominant starter, I would expect defenses to have prepared when I went into a game, you know, if someone went down or got hurt. So I give that healthy same respect to teams and the depth that they have. I know Josh Dobbs, you know, personally, and the type of man, the type of character that he is, and the things that he's done, not only in his college career, but, you know, in the NFL as well. And you have to respect the talent that they have and the coaching that they have as well. So looking back, I think you should only look back to learn. You shouldn't look back to dwell. I think it's part of your ego and pride to think, oh, we beat this team once, so we're going to just do it again. That's not how the league works. You got to earn it every week, you know? You know that.
I'm aware of it, yes, but I like to hear your answer of it. Yeah. All right, so crowd support, you mentioned it. The environment here is going to be electric. Sold-out crowds, standing room only, under the lights, national TV. I mean, you guys have to be fired up for a big-time Jaguar environment like this.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about playing here in Duval is the fan base that we do have, you know, and they brought it in weeks past. I'm assuming maybe it's going to be a little bit different just because of, you know, what's at stake, but I'm excited for our fans to be a part of it. I am aware that it's supposed to be very, very sold out and crazy and loud, so it's just fun. You can feel the energy around the city. People, you know, kids are ecstatic about it, talking about it, you know. I got neighbors and stuff who are just absolutely happy. So it's a blessing to be a part of a game like this. Doug has talked about playing meaningful football in, you know, November, December, and January, and here we are. So it's a blessing. I'm grateful.
That's Zay Jones, of course, wide receiver, free agent addition in the offseason. Yes, Evan Ingram stole the show in Nashville, but Zay Jones also had a big game against the Titans in Week 14.
No doubt. You know, and you wanted 27 targets between Ingram and Jones in that game. Do we see maybe a swing towards Kirk and Marvin Jones in this game? We'll find out what the offensive staff has in store. I just wanted to note, as Zay Jones talked about the excitement level around the city, and I mentioned all the tailgating lots and everything going on. I had a request to recognize the international Jaguar fandoms in the UK and Ireland and Germany and Australia and Brazil. They're all over the place. Slovenia, you name it. I'm leaving a bunch of them out. And they're all in a variety of time zones, all locked into this one as well. Duval Pride worldwide, JP.
Absolutely. This is the night for it. It's a Saturday night special. The Jaguars entertaining the Tennessee Titans coming up. The winner takes the AFC South. We're about 30 minutes away or so from inactives. Up next, though, it's ESPN reporter Jeff Darlington. He sat down with Trevor Lawrence this week. We'll get Jeff's take on the Jags' second-half rise and the quarterback play. It's an 8:15 kickoff time for the Titans and the Jaguars. And this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
you're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. In-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Paid for by FDOT.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
Want to make sure he gets to the game on time?
Tommy, your uniform is ready. Let's go.
Install a natural gas dryer, and you're guaranteed faster drying times and softer laundry. And now you can earn a valuable cash rebate up to $200 on an energy-efficient natural gas dryer. Show your home love with natural gas, and it loves you right back. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey as the Publix Tailgate Show continues. We're inside 2 hours from Week 18. The Tennessee Titans at 7-9. The Jacksonville Jaguars at 8-8. Kickoff 8:15 at TIAA Bank Field. And tonight's game is sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Vision, providing healthy sight for life. Let's take a look around the National Football League as we begin Week 18.
Going to use that good vision here, JP. As Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin, great story as it's turning out to be. His health continues to improve following his cardiac arrest on the field only 5 days ago. Seems like it's been a lot longer than that. That happened, of course, during Monday Night Football in Cincinnati. Hamlin had his breathing tube removed overnight, Thursday into Friday morning. He continues to be able to breathe on his own. He is said to be neurologically intact. He's been able to speak with his family and care providers in addition to addressing his Bills teammates over Zoom, which I'm sure helps them breathe a massive sigh of relief. Not that T. Higgins ever should have felt anything bad about this, but he can breathe a sigh of relief as well, as he was the one that Hamlin was tackling that led to that cardiac arrest. So maybe not 100% out of the woods, but trending in a fantastic direction. We'll continue to follow that story, obviously. And while Hamlin continues to get better, the NFL is adjusting to the unique situation of having a game with playoff seeding implications canceled this late in a season. The league voted on Friday to overturn its own rules on how to determine the standings in this situation, opting to set up potential neutral site games depending on which opponents potentially advance to the AFC title game. Additionally, the site of a potential Cincinnati-Baltimore playoff matchup will be determined by a coin flip if the Ravens beat the Bengals tomorrow. That would give Baltimore a head-to-head sweep of the season series, but would still leave the Bengals a half game up and division champs in the AFC North. The Bengals could become the first NFL team ever to win its division and open the wild card round on the road, and they're said to be less than pleased with this outcome. I mean, look, they've been completely supportive of everything with the Buffalo Bills and with DeMar Hamlin, so I don't think the Bengals are bad guys in this scenario, but the NFL did change their own rules to handle the situation, and that's where we're at right now. So stop me if you've heard this, JP, but the Jags will be AFC South champs with a win versus the Titans. Jacksonville still has a wild card path that would require New England, Miami, and Pittsburgh all losing. Otherwise, the Patriots grab the last spot in the AFC with a win. The Dolphins need a win and the Patriots loss or tie. The Steelers need a win and to have both the Patriots and Dolphins lose or tie to claim the last wild card spot. And in the NFC, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Dallas are all alive for the number one seed. Seattle, Green Bay, and Detroit all have a chance to secure the final wild card. Amid reports that TV networks are interested in hiring Sean McVay as an analyst for next season, the LA Rams coach said the continued interest is, quote, flattering, but I want to be here right now, focus on that. That's where I'm at, end quote. McVay signed an extension with the Rams after they won Super Bowl 56. He is under contract through the 2026 season. And finally, which team will hold the number one pick in the 2023 NFL Draft will be determined tomorrow. The 2-13-1 Texans, coming off a beating at the hands of Jacksonville, would hold the top spot if they lose to Indianapolis or if Chicago beats Minnesota. The Bears, however, will control the top of the draft with a loss and a Houston victory.
There you have it, a look around the National Football League, and if you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capabilities and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between, this truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jeff Darlington is an NFL reporter for ESPN. He was in town Thursday for a conversation with Trevor Lawrence that will run on ESPN and ABC today and tonight. I asked him about his impressions of the quarterback when they sat down here at the bank.
It's great in every way. You know, you can look at it, you can kind of break it down into many different kind of avenues in which this comeback, you know, can be credited. And you can certainly start with Trevor. I mean, and I think that that's probably, you know, as much as, yes, that probably has a lot to do with the turnaround. And I would say that Trevor would be the first to say that it's a lot of different components. It's chemistry with new players. It's just, you know, Doug Peterson's system being implemented. But you cannot ignore the fact that Trevor Lawrence, since that loss in London, is leading the NFL in completion percentage. I mean, what is it? 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You know, the switch flipped, and it was inevitable, in my opinion. I think that Trevor was going to get there. I never actually really doubted that. You just wondered when it was going to be. I would say that it has been far more dramatic and just far more just boom, switch flipped, and it's off and running.
What were his thoughts on? I know you sat down with him. We'll see that over the weekend here. Your conversation with the quarterback. So he's talked about that moment in London where he threw the goal to go interception from the 1 yard line,
right.
first and goal. And hey, you know what? I'm hurting this football team. I've got to figure it out. And some other guys around us have to always play better too. So I think that was probably the moment, at least from the outside looking in, that things changed. How did he handle that moment?
Absolutely. And I think that he readily admits that after that game, he was really focused on being like, I got to get better. I think it is important to point out, and we talked about this, that it's not as if Trevor after that game was like, man, I got to work harder. I got to do things different. It wasn't as if he didn't care before. His work ethic is never in question. His desire to win, all these things. I think that he just sort of had this moment where, you know, I think a lot of us can look at in our line of work where I think he started to look at it based on what he was telling me as, I am hurting my team, and that's not something that I ever want to do. And I think that whether that put him into a different mental state, even if it didn't change his work ethic, it clearly has made a difference. It is not coincidence to me that Trevor, after that game, had this disgusted feeling, and since that point was able to turn it on. And again, not because he, stayed at the facility for longer, not because he changed the way he's eating or anything like that, but instead maybe just like, you know what, come to think of it, one of the things he did say was that he also, what he did recognize is he had to stop pressing. He had to start playing his kind of ball, which is kind of funny because if you're throwing interceptions, generally it's because you're like, I don't know, like you're not thinking about it enough. And his point was, no, I had to stop thinking so much to kind of play within myself. So however you want to look at it, it's working.
Don't think, just throw.
Yeah.
I guess,
I guess there's something to that, by the way.
Yeah. And apparently it's worked out. Jeff Darlington with us from ESPN. Obviously the difference of coaching minds around him from one year to the next, it really can't be more stark of a difference from what happened in his rookie season to what's going on now with Doug Peterson and Press Taylor and Mike McCoy, and
That's
everybody's on the same accord. What did he have to say about that group around him really kind of carrying him forward?
First of all, Trevor's to the point now where he's I think exhausted by the idea of even talking about last year, and rightfully so. He mentioned Doug. I think he said like he's just got such an even keel approach to things, and he's like, it just fits my personality so well. And it's funny because a lot of times when you make a coaching change, you do the complete 180 where you really go from, we're going to go from a offensive mind to a defensive mind, or a disciplinarian to a player's coach. And I don't think that necessarily the Jaguars fully intended to do that, but Doug Peterson could not be the better person for this situation, given what they went through last year with Urban Meyer. He's experienced. He's played the game. He's a professional. He has the pedigree. He just goes about it in a way that I think it can be respected in a locker room, which is really the only way. If you're going to flip a culture the way that he has, it's got to be a personality like his. And I think that that's vibed well with Trevor, but even more so, I think it's vibed with the rest of the locker room.
All right, it's all come down to week 18. Trevor,
right.
in college at least, had some big moments in playoff games and in postseason, but this is a little different animal. So what did he have to say about this moment Saturday night against the Titans?
He seems I can't sit here and tell you that he seems any different. He seems just ready for it. And I think that that's what you do get in Trevor Lawrence that perhaps can change the Jaguars organization, is you get a player who he's not really that up or down about this. I mean, I don't think that Trevor Lawrence views a play-in game. Well, he views it as something that's obviously incredibly important. I don't think that his heartbeat's going to be any higher on a Saturday as a result. But he's just so cool, man. Like, he's just got a presence about him as that just is a franchise leading personality. And when I say that, I just mean he's got a big presence about him, but also a very easy breezy kind of vibe to him that I just think is made for big moments. And that's my thing. Like, I know he's got the talent to get there. And when he does, he's the perfect person to be in that position. He just has this vibe. I was telling him, after any interview, and I'm kind of segueing here because I know you were asking about the game itself, but I'm just thinking about Trevor. After he leaves the room, we always have it's funny, you always have this informal, debriefing between the cameraman and the producers, and Trevor leaves and everybody's just like, and they couldn't figure it out. I'm like, you just got a great vibe. And they're like, yeah, vibe is the word. And that's Trevor. Like, he's just got this wonderful demeanor that feels big, but also approachable. And I think that it's just perfect for Jacksonville. And I think that we're going to see that show up, whether it's this year, next, or the one after that. I just think that guy is going to be a superstar in this league.
That's Jeff Darlington of ESPN. He had the conversation with Trevor Lawrence. You'll see it on TV tonight, ABC, ESPN. And, yeah, it's the beginning of something special, I think, for the quarterback here in Jacksonville.
Man, I mean, this is talking with Brian Sexton about this a little bit, JP. There was great excitement in 2017 for the football team. But this is, I think, people see this as the ground floor. This is sustainable. This is going to get better. This is not a fluke. This didn't come out of nowhere. 16 and the guy who's at the head of the coaching staff, that combination has Jaguar fans thinking is going to be quite a run.
The full conversation with Jeff Darlington on the official Jaguars Podcast Network. It's free on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you download podcasts. Also on Jaguars.com. Just click the podcast link at the top of the homepage. Coming up, a look at playoff scenarios once again, and we'll visit with Frank Frangie in the broadcast booth. Up next, though, we go to the booth for a pregame Huddle Up podcast with Bucky Brooks and John Oehser. We're about an hour and a half away from kickoff in Week 18. The Titans and the Jaguars for the AFC South title. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Brooks Rehabilitation is hiring nurses who want to be empowered as advocates, educators, care coordinators, and leaders in exceptional patient care. They have open RN, LPN, HHA, and CNA positions across their inpatient, skilled nursing, and home health care settings. Join their nationally recognized team, where you'll serve as a central team member doing what you do best, providing exceptional patient care. Apply at careers.brooksrehab.org.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
When it comes to water, choose our team, the winning team. Choose CGC Water Treatment. CGC Water Treatment works, and it works for DG too, former Jags QB, David Garrard.
If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Discover the Kinetico difference.
Call CGC Water Treatment at 844-CGC-JAGS or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars and your local independent Kinetico dealers.
JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. A Saturday night showdown, Week 18, an 8:15 kickoff time for the de facto AFC South Championship game. The Tennessee Titans at 7-9, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 8-8. A win or a tie for the Jaguars, and they would claim the crown. Tonight's game is sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Vision, providing healthy sight for life. Well, the 8:15 kickoff means inactives are another 15 minutes or so from now. We'll get those to you when they are announced by the Jaguars for both teams tonight. And it's time to go up to the broadcast booth. Bucky Brooks, NFL Network analyst, Jaguars radio field analyst, and Jaguars.com senior writer John Ozier. A pregame Huddle Up podcast live. Good evening. We have arrived at Week 18, a winner-take-all game for the division. Bucky, can you believe it?
I can believe it, JP. I can believe it. I'm going to need more energy, though. I need more energy. Like, it's been a minute since the stadium has kind of felt like this. And in coming into the building, a lot of teal, a lot of excitement, a lot of Duvals being chanted. I'm really excited about it. Got a playoff atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere is already what you would expect, and there's only about a 20th of the stadium full. And I really believe that a lot of the reason for the energy and the atmosphere is, in 17 and 18, when this team got good for a minute and was good for a while, you never quite had the unexpected moment like this, if you guys follow me. I mean, just 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was getting emails in the Ozone inbox about the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and that was extreme. But the point being, they have all of a sudden accelerated, as Bucky's talked about in the Huddle Up podcast, gotten a lot better so quickly and surprising people. And now all of a sudden you've got this winner-take-all thing. It's going to be incredible here tonight, guys.
Yeah, there are a lot of those things, John. I agree with you there, but I think it comes back to as well, you got a quarterback that if you can advance into the postseason, that you feel like, you know what, you might be able to make some noise and be dangerous. And Bucky and John, I feel like we've been talking about this for the last hour and a half here, that I think the fans sense that this is sustainable. This is not a flash in the pan. Even though it kind of came out of nowhere for this season, I think they think this is the ground floor of what's going to happen over the next decade or so.
Oh, I think so. And I think what happened is everything kind of clicked. There was a lot of optimism when Doug Peterson came because of his pedigree and history and what he's done with quarterbacks. But we kept waiting to see it. And everyone goes back to that moment in London against the Broncos when Trevor throws the interception, and then the team kind of falls apart, and then he bounced back, and he's been sensational since that point. I think it finally clicked for him how he has to play as a franchise quarterback. It's that fine line between being a gunslinger and being a game manager, and he's really towed the line well. And we have seen this team kind of go from being, is it Trevor's team, is it Travis Etienne's team, to, oh no, it's the quarterback's team, and everyone else on offense is around him to support him and allow him to do what he does well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Not much to add. I mean, there is definitely a feeling when you talk to fans, et cetera, of, hey, this is really cool and really fun. And what's really cool and really fun, even more than that, is you can see where it's going to be sustainable. I'd be surprised if they're not a playoff team pushing for double digits as long as Trevor's here. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case every year because you have hiccups, but franchise quarterbacks get you there every year and give you a chance to roll the dice in the postseason. To me, this is the start of that.
All right, guys, let's get to the matchup tonight. And, of course, anytime the Tennessee Titans roll into town or you head to Nashville, priority number 1 is containing number 22, Derrick Henry. Well, he got his in the first quarter last time in Week 14, and then things changed on that fumble before the half. The game changed, certainly, and they had to get away from it. That's got to be the plan tonight, certainly with a quarterback in that backfield for Tennessee, Bucky.
It has to be that. All eyes are on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the straw that kind of stirs the drink for the Titans. Everyone knows that. And at some point, someone's going to have to deliver a big hit on Henry, much like the one that Shaq Quarterman delivered on him in the second quarter of that previous game, because you have to slow him down. When you slow him down, it really eliminates a lot of what they want to do offensively. And even though Josh Dobbs looked good by their standards on last Thursday against the Cowboys, look, he is not in a position to be able to put this offense on his back. You have to make Josh Dobbs win the game throwing the ball, and the only way you can do that is by eliminating Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I agree, and I also think there's a accompaniment to that of I think you need to get a lead. You need to play well offensively and not give the Titans opportunities early. I think if the Jaguars get the ball and it is 3-0, 0-0, I think you'll see a very similar approach to last week when it felt like they were moving as fast offensively as they have all year on that first drive against Houston. 3 wides one way, 3 wides the other way, getting to the line, with 20, 15 seconds left on the clock. I think you will see a similarly aggressive approach from Doug Peterson. Let's show the Titans that we're better than they are tonight, and let's make them try to have to do things that they don't want to do offensively.
Yeah, John, I agree. If they get up double figures, it's going to be hard to see Tennessee coming back in this football game based on the way they play. But I do think they're going to empty the playbook tonight. Why not, right, on the losing streak that they're on? Buck, I'm curious if you think we may see Malik Willis on the field in a package or two with Joshua Dobbs. Are they going to try to get as creative as possible to at least try to throw a few wrinkles we haven't seen out there?
No, I think for them, I don't think Malik Willis is in the equation, because if he was going to be in the equation, they would have kind of found a way to utilize his skills during the losing streak. I think this is probably a very basic game for them. It's Derrick Henry with 25 to 30 touches, most of those on the ground. It's Josh Dobbs throwing on early downs, and them trying to make the game a slow-down, half-court basketball game. I would expect, if we're watching it at home, look for them to drain the play clock down to under 5 seconds and shorten the game, and see if they can make the Jaguars feel the pressure of being in a big game in the fourth quarter. And so I believe that is their only path to victory, running it and shortening the game by controlling the clock. If this becomes a track meet or any semblance of a track meet, the Jaguars are going to run them out the stadium.
I think you will see at least a wrinkle or two along on the lines of what you're talking about, Mike. Maybe a play or two, flea flicker, that sort of thing, trying to get something off balance. But I agree with Bucky for the most part. The Titans are a team generally that loves to play to what they are. They're Derrick Henry, and I think they will keep it close to the vest, but try desperately to be in 2nd and 6, 3rd and 2 situations for the quarterback, not make him have to do things that he doesn't want to do.
All right, guys, the Titans defense, of course, number 2 in the league against the run, stout up front, great defensive line. So if that is slow today in the Jaguars running game, I mean, this is a Trevor Lawrence day. Obviously, last time it was Evan Ingram who had the big day in Nashville, Zay Jones as well. Who stands out tonight in this offense?
I think it's a very similar game. I think, 1, this is a Trevor Lawrence game. 2, just because of the magnitude of the game, I think you see Doug Peterson kind of simplify what they do. You have to remember, nerves is going to be a big part of this, and we have seen Trevor in early parts of the game tends to be nervous. So you'll see some quick tempo because that's what he plays well, but it also allows you to recycle simple plays over and over and over again. Think inside out. I think Evan Ingram is going to continue to be a big part of it. It could be any of the other guys, Zay, Marvin Jones, Christian Kirk. Someone in the slot is going to have an opportunity to have a big day, but this will be a quick rhythm passing game designed to get the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hands early, let him hit some layups, and then you'll see some shots down the field later.
Yeah, it's dead on to me. I think you could see early them try to spring ETN. Not that they haven't been trying to do that anyway, but I think that will continue to be part of it. I don't think they're going to be overly stubborn about it, because it's hard to run for 100 yards on 25 carries against this team. I think you would love to see them get 2 20-yard runs out of ETM to flip field, flip momentum. And then I think it's going to be a matter of who's hot in the passing game, but I think you'll see a lot of the misdirection stuff in the passing game, trying to get them isolated on linebackers. So like Bucky said, make some easy throws for big plays, which they've been pretty consistent about doing the last 4 or 5 weeks. But I think Trevor Lawrence, he hasn't had to be special the last 2 weeks. I think tonight against Tennessee, he needs to make 1, 2, 3 special plays that we saw for a couple of weeks leading into that last 2 games. I think for them to win, he has to have those kind of plays.
John Oehser and Bucky Brooks, enjoy the environment, and we'll talk to you guys a little bit later.
Guys, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
John and Bucky in the broadcast booth upstairs. We'll come back in a moment and get the inactives for tonight's game. You can check out the weekly Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks show Wednesdays at 4 on Jaguars.com and the Jaguars social channels, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. We're inside 20 minutes from Jaguars Radio Network coverage. It's Week 18. The Titans and the Jaguars ready to decide an AFC South championship, and this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, Let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A top public university with more than 100 majors, UNF is number one among state schools for the highest percentage of graduates employed in Florida. Affordable tuition, programs in high-demand fields, and faculty who care. Swoop into your future at UNF. Visit unf.edu to learn more. Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Join the Jaguars in D.C., Los Angeles. Watch them win in Philly, Indy, Detroit, Nashville, New York, and Houston. When you fly nonstop from Jax, on airport parking will punt the stress from your travel itinerary. Garage facilities offer defensive coverage from the weather and are a 50-yard dash from the terminal. Economy parking is just $6 a day. To learn more about nonstop flights and on-airport parking, visit flyjax.com.
How far should we go? When it comes to the health of children, we will stop at nothing, focusing on prevention as much as cures. Working with community leaders, educators, policymakers to make every child's world a place for them to thrive. Going to the nth degree and beyond. Nemours Children's Health, well beyond medicine. Join the journey at nemours.org/beyond.
Your pet means the world to you, so Pet Paradise created a slice of paradise just for them. Pet Paradise is your complete pet health care destination with resort-style day camp, overnight boarding, professional grooming, and compassionate veterinary care from New Day, all located under one roof. Pet Paradise has over 50 locations to serve pet fanatics like you nationwide. Book today at petparadise.com, the official pet care provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from TIAA Bank Field. The Tennessee Titans at 7-9. The Jacksonville Jaguars 8-8. Tonight's kickoff time 8:15 at TIAA Bank Field. And tonight's game is sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Vision, providing healthy sight for life. Let's get to the inactives. They have just been announced. The Jaguars have 5 players down for tonight's game. Kendrick Pryor, wide receiver, inactive tonight. Monteric Brown, the rookie cornerback, is out. Gregory Jr., cornerback, out. Deshaun Dixon, inactive again, rookie outside linebacker. And Jeremiah Ledbetter, defensive lineman, is out. Coy Cronk is a game day elevation for the Jaguars on the offensive line off the practice squad.
Yeah, no offense to any of those guys who are inactive, but you know the names you're wondering that are questionable this week, the guys you're going to be counting on, they're all ready to go for the Jaguars. Right. That's great news. Titans, because they are so beat up, have so many guys on injured reserve, only need to inactivate 3 players tonight, and that's what they've done. Cornerback Devontae Harris, safety Mike Brown, and defensive lineman Naquan Jones are the 3 official inactives for Tennessee.
There you have it. Inactives are in. We touched on this a moment ago, Mike, but it's Week 18. Obviously, they waited until after last week's games to set up the schedule this week because
of the playoff possibilities, both AFC and NFC. A lot on the line tomorrow.
No doubt. And, well, today it looks like Kansas City well on their way to clinching the number 1 seed. They're up 30-6 over the Raiders in the fourth quarter, so that victory would give them the number 1 seed in the AFC. Buffalo obtains the 2nd seed with a win tomorrow. Now, if they lose and Kansas City lose, or excuse me, Cincinnati loses, they would also be would result in Buffalo being the number 2 seed. Cincinnati needs a win and a Buffalo loss, obviously, to move up in the pecking order. Jags will be the 4th seed if they win this game tonight, and right now they would take on the LA Chargers. The Chargers retain the 5th seed that they're currently in with a victory or a Baltimore loss. If the Ravens win and the Chargers lose or tie, it would be Baltimore traveling to the winner of tonight's game. And then the 7 seed, New England gets in with a win. Miami gets in with a win and a New England loss or tie. Pittsburgh needs a win, and Miami and New England to both lose or tie. Of course, if Jacksonville were to somehow lose tonight, they could still get in with Miami, New England, and Pittsburgh losses. The Jags would be able to claim the last wild card spot. Over in the NFC, you've got a number of teams still alive for the number 1 seed. Philadelphia gets it with a victory or a Dallas loss or tie and a San Fran loss or tie. San Fran needs to win and Philadelphia to lose, then they would have the bye in the NFC. Dallas needs to win and have Philadelphia and San Fran both lose. San Fran could also tie in that scenario. Really, the intrigue is for the last spot in the NFC. Green Bay wins on Sunday Night Football, they're in. That's it. Seattle, earlier in the day, won't know the outcome of that game, obviously. So if they win, they'll be on the brink of getting in if Detroit then upsets Green Bay. But if Seattle loses to the Rams, then the Green Bay-Detroit game will be a head-to-head winner-take-all for the last playoff spot in the National Football Conference.
You gotta love it. You gotta love coming down to the wire like this.
What I love
when
is
you're not involved in it.
Jags take care of business tonight. We can sleep in, JP. I don't have to check any fantasy lineups. We can get up and root for who we like and root for against who we don't like, and try to, I would love, let's say, for instance, to see the Ravens come back to try to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars once again. But, look, important thing happens tonight at 8:15, and as long as the Jags take care of business, we're good.
Let's go to the broadcast booth at TIAA Bank Field, about 6 stories upstairs. Frank Frangie is joining us now with a view. The stadium lights are on, I'm sure, Frank, and it's the sun has set, and boy, this scene is going to be one to remember tonight.
Boy, JP, it's already gorgeous. Hello to you and Mike, and my goodness, those teal end zones and the lights are on, and that's logo at the middle of the field. Field looks great, by the way. They've had to replace it a bunch of times because they're having to practice here, as you know, and I think most people that follow it know. Man, what a night it's going to be, fellas. This is we wait a long time for these. I'm watching the bridges, lots of lights on those bridges still. So, boy, it's going to be a night tonight.
So, Frank, how do you compare this to the feeling of when you were calling games in the 2017 season, whether they were big late regular season games or even the home Buffalo playoff game?
Mike, I think comparing it to Buffalo makes sense. That is because people were really jacked for that. I don't remember a regular season home game that year that compared with that. Maybe New England the next year, early in the year, but I don't remember a home game that compared with the way we felt before that Buffalo game. And this one, Mike, even more so, I think, because it's at night and because the hopes weren't so great early in the season and we're all caught up in this winning streak. So I think there's an energy that even trumps that because of how it came about. It's a great question, but I think the way this whole thing came about, and maybe I'm having recency bias, but it feels like for me there's more energy this time around than there was for one home game even then.
Frank Frangie with us from the broadcast booth, and the turnaround for the Jaguars themselves is remarkable enough, obviously. 3-7 after the Week 11 bye, and they were 4 games back of first place at that point. So their rally to finish the second half and try to finish the second half as strong as they can here is one storyline of it. But then Tennessee's collapse made this all possible as well. I mean, it took both of those things happening. This would be an all-timer if the Jaguars can cap it off tonight.
I think after that Detroit game, after the Detroit game was over, JP, we all said, well, okay, it might be that might do it. That might be over now. But look, if they win the rest of them, and Doug Peterson the very next Monday, remember I said, listen, it's still in front of us. We just got to win them all now. We all said if they win them all now, maybe. And then all of a sudden they won them all. That was what was so amazing about it. And you're right. Tennessee's collapse is a big part of it. It's also the scary part, JP, because Tennessee now, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think was aiming at this week. I think this was the game. That's why nobody played against Dallas. I think that's why Josh Dobbs played that week, because it was a dress rehearsal for this game. Tennessee, here's the deal, as awful as this last month and a half has been for the Titans, they can erase all of it in one night, and that's the scary part, and that's not lost on the Jaguars. So that adds to the drama and the storylines of this game on prime time and national television.
Oh, no doubt, Frank. They're sitting in that locker room going, oh, we hear everything everybody's saying. And nobody thinks we can win this football game. That can be a very powerful thing to bring a team together. But I think the most powerful thing they have going for them is number 22, Derrick Henry. And look, I know everyone's saying, hey, let's just load the box, let's stop Derrick Henry. How was that not the plan last time, right? And, until they started turning Tennessee over, Derrick Henry was running it pretty well. Why might tonight be different?
I think when you're preparing for a quarterback who hasn't played and who just got there, you probably have even more of a game plan where you crowd the box. I'm sure they crowded the box, but there was still a little concern because Ryan Tannehill's a veteran guy, Mike, and he's beat them before and he's savvy. Now I think that little bit of worry is gone. So I think that's it. Secondly, I think they probably stacked the box a little bit more in the second half last time than they did. This game has less mystery in the build-up than any game you'll ever watch. It's pretty clear. The Titans are second in the league against the run defensively, last in the league against the pass, so the Jags are going to throw it. And offensively, the Titans have a quarterback that hadn't played, and they've got the best running back in the league, certainly the most powerful. They're going to run it. Now, it may not play out that way, but the storylines are pretty clear. I heard Tony and Jeff on with you guys earlier. I think if you stop Derrick Henry, you win the game, and it's that easy. Sometimes it's not as simple, but I think you can overthink this one. I think that's the key to this game, obviously.
Frank, enjoy it tonight. Should be an epic football game, of course. Everything on the line, the AFC South crown. A win or a tie? Let's just go for the win and get it done tonight, Frank. Good luck.
What a great setting. You're exactly right, JP. I think we're all going to enjoy this tonight. Thanks, man. Thanks, fellas.
Frank Frangie from the broadcast booth upstairs. Yes, that's all it takes. A win or a tie, and the Jaguars are the AFC South champions. And as you mentioned just a moment ago, if the Jaguars fall tonight, they would need 3 things to happen on Sunday. Let's not worry about that. Let's knock it out, get it done, get that 2-score lead, and then go to work.
Absolutely. 100% with you. I mean, it just, in the back of your mind, it's nice to know you got outs, but, take care of business tonight. Host that game next week. We don't want to go on the road as a wild card anyway. We want to play a game right back here next week in TIAA Bank Field.
And by the way, tickets for the potential playoff game are limited already as well.
Good.
Every team that's in first place by a certain point in December has to put them on sale. Well, the response has been strong for that game as well, whenever it would be. And we would find that out, of course, after the weekend here. So we'll see if they get it done.
That's the way you want it, right?
It's going to be packed
Tough
again.
ticket to get.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans coming up. And we're moments away from Jaguars Radio Network coverage. We'll hear from Fred Taylor, of course, as always. Pride of the Jaguars running back, the final word with the Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson as well. The Jaguars trying to sweep the season series against Tennessee for the first time since 2005. That was also the last season the Jaguars had a 5-game winning streak in season. They're up to 4 right now. They'd like to cap it off the right way at the end of the regular season tonight. It's an 8:15 kickoff time for the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars for the AFC South title. Thanks for listening to the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
The Titans-Jaguars game is proudly sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Vision, the makers of AccuView brand contact lenses. Johnson & Johnson Vision has been rooted in Jacksonville, Florida for more than 40 years, with tools for every stage of your eye health journey, from contact lenses and dry eye to childhood myopia and cataract surgery. They help to restore sight for millions of people around the world. You can prioritize your eyes by